قبلكم ثم التاريخ.
Welcome back, my dear viewers. Now Egypt and the whole world is celebrating the Labor Day. We are going to discuss today the Labor Day and the economic reforms. We have the pleasure to host in our studio in Nile TV Dr. Tamer Momtaz, who is the economic expert. Welcome. Welcome, Doctor. Well, Doctor, you made a campaign for titled "Working is an Honor."
Yes.
Could you tell us about your campaign?
Okay. My campaign is different because I want to change the culture of our community. I want to change the minds of workers. I want to change my country to be good, to improve the level of living, to give the prosperity to our community. My campaign is, I discussed my campaign with my family in the first, how I can change the culture of our people, how I can change the culture of the perception of every man, of every woman. What is the job? I observed that some differences between jobs. We have a perception about doctors and engineers is very good and other jobs is no. Why? I want to make a same level for all jobs to workers. So I make a initiative to encourage the officials to go to streets and clean streets and work on machines, go to factories and make some job which worker do. And I went already to some factories and I did the dangerous jobs. They were very, what happened? Surprised, yes. Why you do these jobs? Do you need money? I said no, I don't need the money, but I make something new that will change the culture of people.
Culture of working. Yes.
I discussed this with my family, which they refused in the first time. And when I discussed this, that we have the aim to make an initiative, they say, okay, it will be good. And sometimes I received many messages from my colleagues, my friends, said, this is good. This is the first time we will change the culture of our people.
Yes. And what was the challenges that faced you in making your campaign?
The most challenges is time. I have no time because I work in bank from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I have no time because I go after I end my job to the factories and make appointments with them and send a greeting, and I will come today. I have many appointment every day, and I go to home about 1 a.m. and I always be tired, but I am so happy because I have no time.
Yes, you're always busy.
Yes, I always busy and I have no time, but I do something new will change the people and will change the mindset of them, and I will I see the light.
Yes.
In the end of the road, I see the light.
How was this initiative or campaign able to create a new future in the working field?
We have many difficulties in Egypt in the culture of workers. Sometimes workers say, I cannot do this job because it's a shame. I can do this. Some childs, you ask them, what's the job of your father? He said, no, nothing. Because he feels that father's job is shame. But I discussed with them, children, what's the jobs? You must proud of your father's jobs. You must proud who clean the land,
yes.
Who clean the machines. You must proud because he is a hero. He didn't be in homes and drink coffee and he is asleep. No. He do something.
Yes. So we have a phone call from Dr. Walid Daouf, the member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining Live TV. Doctor, we'd like to know, in your point of view, the significance of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi speech in the occasion of Labor Day.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat the question?
We'd like to know your point of view, or how do you read the word or the speech of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the occasion of Labor Day?
Well, I mean, definitely it's a word that is addressed to tackle the areas of the value of work, the need of our nation to develop productivity, which is one of the major challenges that we are facing in the country, one of the reasons why our economy is suffering. And here it's quite important to shed the light on the value of work. It is quite important to reward the high performers, and I think that was one of the important elements. And it's a tradition actually every year to reward and recognize the performance of the leaders of different work and labor activities in the nation.
Yes, and how does the workers' efficiency influence the economic process?
Well, basically, one of the major issues, as we say, in Egypt, we have unfortunately one of the lowest levels of productivity per worker, and that's one of the, of course, important reasons why our economy is again suffering. And unless we are able to boost the productivity by each worker, unless we are able to engage more citizens actually to participate actively in work and the activity, at the end of the day, we are not going to increase or improve or boost our productivity, and that affects at the end of the day our GDP.
Yes, of course. What about, Doctor, about the training programs for workers?
Well,
how do
which program for workers? I'm sorry?
Training programs for workers to boost the wheel of introduction and help workers.
Yes, well, actually, there have been historically, as you would know, some very important and good initiatives that we need to still continue to develop and build on. Since the days many years ago, there was the initiative that was called the Kohl Mubarak at the time of the German Chancellor Kohl and the former President Mubarak, that was actually aiming to address the development of the technical workers, and that's very important because one of our challenges at the time being is that we are getting quite large numbers of university graduates that in reality does not match the needs in the market and in the economy, while we have higher needs for other technical jobs and functions, and we do not have those qualified technicians in so many fields.
So, and how can the government improve the legal rights of the workers concerning wages and their services also?
Well, I think we have to look at this matter quite globally. The very important thing, of course, is to achieve the right balance between the rights of the workers and also the benefit of the economy and the rights of the employers as well. Because at the end of the day, if there isn't a balanced equilibrium between those two elements, we are going to suffer. For instance, one of the main difficulties currently in developing and boosting our investment is that actually the labor law is not a labor law that supports productivity. It does not have enough of the elements of reward and punishment. It needs to be looked at globally, and of course it's the government, it's our parliament, it's the entire community that should set an overall strategy to guide any legislative or administrative changes in that area.
And how can Egypt get benefit of the other countries' experience in that field?
Well, definitely, of course, we know there are various trade and labor organizations, and I'm sure that the interaction between our, whether official government or non-government organizations that are related to work and labor, this kind of interaction, and there is, of course, an international organization for that. The best thing, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel, as they say, would be to actually learn from others' experiences And my view is that when we want to start, we should not start where others have started, but rather to start where they have ended.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Walid Aouf, the member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Now we continue our interview with Dr. Tamer Momtaz, the economic expert. Well, we'd like to know the feedback of your campaign to workers.
The feedback
what was
is
the
very
reactions
positive.
to
Yes.
your...
The reaction is very, very positive. In the first time, they see something new, something different. They said, what happened? Why do you do that? It's very surprising that I see someone work in bank and go to live the worker life and
Yes.
do something is very, very, you will be tired
Yes.
when you end your job. The feedback is very positive. The workers and everyone said we are happy. They do much more efforts to produce more products. They make an good time.
Because they felt that they are central of attention.
Yes, yes. Because they saw someone beside him,
Yes.
and he do with
Do you think
motivation.
that was the role of the syndicate of workers?
What?
The role of the syndicate of workers?
Yes. I do something like that.
Like that?
Like that, yes. And I make a cleaning of all the factory. When they say, when they see the Tamer go to and clean the factory, they said it's a good job. We all go and work with him.
Yes. What do you think the difference between the Egyptian worker and a worker in any other country?
I think the most different, the difference between culture, because the culture
You mean
in Egypt,
in
Yes.
foreign countries they are hard workers?
yes, no, we are hard workers.
Yes.
Our workers is very good. Our workers is want an initiative only. When we build an initiative, you will see the results. Initiative is the first. I make many programs in TV, but after many programs I did, I observed that no results. Why? Because I must begin with myself.
Yes.
I must do the job with myself.
Yeah.
Every time I speak, and we must, in the end of time, I find no results.
Yes.
So I decided to begin with myself.
Yes. So we have also a phone call with Dina Samir, Mrs. Dina Samir, the tour guide. Welcome, Mrs. Dina.
Welcome. How are you?
We are celebrating today, of course, the Labor Day. So we'd like to know how did the ancient pharaohs respect the contribution of the workers in Egypt at that era?
Okay. In the ancient Egyptian period, in that time, the people accustomed to wait for any feast, not this feast, but because we don't have any proof or any evidence that there's a feast for the workmen. But they had a habit to make decorations for any feast. Each one of them related to the position and the job of the owner of this work or this job. As a king, the king, as a ruler, he has accustomed to decorate and prepare his palace to these feasts by his own decorations. And there is a supervisor or some people who had the responsibility to take these decorations, and we have some evidence about that in the tomb of T. There is one of the workmen at Saqqara. In this tomb, we have titles for the supervisor of decorations, like Emirasesh, that means the supervisor of the Royal Entertainment Place, or the supervisor of the Birds Place.
So, and we'd like to know, did the ancient Egyptians celebrate the Labor's Day?
We don't have approval about that. We don't have any evidence about that.
So and what was
but they respect workmen and women, but there is no evidence about that any celebration for for the workmen and workwomen.
And what was the most very well-known or significant jobs that old Egyptians worked in?
Okay, there is the most important job in that time, which is a scribe. The scribe was the most important job in that time, that all the families educated their kids very well to be a scribe, because, you know, the scribe was the only one who wrote anything and everything about the king and know all the secrets of the king. So the most important job in that time was to be a scribe.
So, Mrs. Dina Samir, the tour guide, thank you very much for joining Nile TV. Well, back to Mr. Dr. Tamer Momtaz, the economic expert. Well, we'd like to know the difference, you know, or how can we get to know or benefit from the experience of other countries in the field of labor?
First, I want to speak about how we make training is lead to learning.
Yes.
Training now is not good. Training now want to be upgraded to learning systems. Training in all factories, in all firms, we get expert
Yes.
come to us and speak and give information, give data to all people and discuss with them what is the procedure of the work. Okay. After he ends the training program, he go out and go to his factory or
Yes.
go to his firm and leave the people, and they go to their machines and do the same thing they did before. Learning is different because we will get an expert and discuss with the manager, with the people, with the workers, how is the best performance, how we improve this level, and discuss with them what is your view to this issue. Do you see that this machine will give the best performance, or you want a special training?
Yes.
The training give to the workers with the experts inside,
Yes.
not from outside. The inside is really experts with the procedure inside the factory. I cannot make this inside and outside is the same, because outside is the same training course. It will give to all factories, to all people, and not is specialized to the every worker. I want to discuss what is in our minds. I want to discuss
Yes.
what your perception to the work together.
Yes.
Something is difficult in Egypt that workers didn't want to work together. Everyone, you ask, what's your point of view about working together? He said, I want to work alone. Why? Because
They don't have the culture of team working.
Yes.
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 This should be.
So this should be to learn our children in their toys how they work with sisters and brothers and relatives, and make a campaign that we make these toys, how we play together. In the recent years, we said to our children, everyone will have a toy. Why? We want one toy for all our children
to play with,
to learn them how they did the work together.
So this is something since the child is young, in bringing up the child.
Yes, the child is a good perception, the best perception about life. We make this culture is upgraded every year, every day.
Yes.
When we do something and he see us how we speak, how we discuss, how we listen. How I listen to some ideas, how I discuss with you some ideas. In all factories or all firms, we make an interview in the first time we see the worker and ask him, give me your feedback about work, give me feedback about some problems you faced in the past, give me the solutions that you offer the solution in this problems.
Yes.
Sometimes they said I didn't face any problem. It's a problem because every worker he faced minimum 1 or 2 problems in his life.
Yes.
And it will give him the motivation to solve this problem. If he even not knows the solution, but he will ask, he will analyze information.
Or search for it.
Search for it. And we have now the internet.
Yes.
Google, you can search about anything and you will
receive the good data.
Good data.
Yes.
Now children didn't ask the father and mother what is the problems. They search in Google and they find all data.
So we have examples of your works.
Yes.
Yes. Could you tell us about it?
Yes. This what I did in factories and with farmers, with workers, and I do some dangerous jobs in many aspects of life. I did these jobs with pleasure. I was very happy because I learned something new. The workers gave me the motivation to learn.
What did you learn from them?
I learned how to be patient, how to be with a balanced mood.
What about this picture?
Yes. This picture
Where were
with our students in
Yes.
In university in Damietta. This university I make a conference with Dr. Dalia Adel and Dr. Mohammed and Dr. Samir Abul Futuh. He is very it was a very good conference, and I give information to our students in this university what is political and economical decisions what in Egypt, and how we must do our best to improve the situation of Egypt and the level of living, and how we make a respect of all workers. We will respect of all workers, and when we see everyone work, we will go and help them, help him, and the result is happiness for all. In this picture, I collect the wheat with farmers. It was a very difficult.
Yes.
Difficult, but I was feeling good.
This picture?
This picture, yes, we cut trees and make something, cut it, and this is with farmers in Bilbis. I was driving my car and I find them do this job, and I stop my car and go with them and do the same job with them. Sometimes I want to reduce my my motivation, because motivation lead to some dangerous jobs. This I learned this job in 2 hours. The expert gave me the chance to read about it, how I make this job, and said you must do it. Be carefully, because the result is very dangerous.
Dr. Tamer Momtaz, the economic expert, thank you very much for joining Nile TV.
It's my pleasure.
My pleasure too. With this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, Cairo Local Time, during which we've brought you the latest political and also economic and social events that are taking place in Egypt. I'm Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.